Welcome to Labs Unleashed, a podcast from Lehigh University Campus Safety, where ideas are free to run, conversations are real, and curiosity is always encouraged. Hi, I'm Chad Bruckner. I'm a detective with the Lehigh University Police Department, and I'll be your tour guide as we explore the people, stories, and ideas shaping campus safety and life here at Lehigh. This podcast is about the humans behind the work, the thinkers, builders, and change makers who move our community forward. My goal is simple: to inform, engage, and build trust with you across campus. Labs Unleashed comes to you through the lens of campus safety, but the conversations go far beyond policy and procedure. We'll talk about everything from emergency call boxes to the inspiring individuals creating real impact here at Lehigh. Wherever you're at, our aim is to meet you there with content that's educational, relatable, and genuinely interesting. You'll hear less about polished outcomes and more about the process, curiosity, and moments that spark real change. The name Labs Unleashed carries special meaning for us. It honors Lehigh's beloved dogs, Grace, Scout, and Claire, our iconic Lehigh Labs, whose warmth and presence symbolize connection and care. It also reflects the spirit of this campus, a place where people are encouraged to think boldly, speak honestly, and engage without scripts. Here, labs aren't just rooms filled with equipment. They're spaces where ideas are tested, challenged, and even sometimes turned upside down. This is where innovators get unleashed, to talk honestly, think boldly, and share stories behind their work. More than a podcast, Labs Unleashed is a platform for connection, transparency, and shared responsibility. Guided by the same heart embodied by Grace, Scout, and Claire, we're here to inform, inspire, and elevate the lived experiences of our campus community. So join us and let's unleash the best within us together. Welcome to Labs Unleashed. On today's show, we're going to be interviewing our two therapy dog handlers, Dave Kokinda and Stephen Romanic. First up, Detective Lieutenant Dave Kokinda. He has been a steady presence here at Lehigh University since 2012, dedicated to keeping our campus community safe and supported. As the leader of the Criminal Investigations Unit, he works closely with students, staff, and local partners to navigate everything from complex cases to everyday concerns. In 2022, he partnered with therapy dog Grace, and together they have brought comfort, connection, and a sense of calm to countless members of our Lehigh community. Grace is a 3-year-old yellow lab who's sweet and loves to play. Dave is known for his approachable style and commitment to building trust across campus. Outside of work, Dave enjoys spending time with his wife, Marissa, and their daughter, and he loves taking on home improvement projects. Thanks for being on the show today.
Of course,
really appreciate
Chad.
having you here.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about you, talk about your journey with Grace. I love this dog. I know you know that. It's already become a little joke in our unit, but
Yeah.
she's just a sweetheart. I never had a dog like that. My dogs have been small and little, and to have this dog that's so sweet and playful. So tell the audience, tell our community, how did you guys come together? How did you get paired together? How did that whole process work?
So it all started, it was our administration. I don't know if it was Chief Schiffer or the retired Assistant Chief Houts. They read a campus safety article regarding therapy dogs in higher educational facilities and that. I think it was either Yale or Princeton had a dog, and then we tried to emulate their program here at Lehigh. We went about it a little bit differently, and I'll touch on that in a second, but essentially they put out a letter of interest, we had to submit letters of interest on who wanted to be a therapy dog handler and why they thought they would be the ones that would be given the opportunity. My pitch was I work in a role as a detective. I deal with community members that are in traumatic situations and that. So I thought that would be a natural progression, having the dog in those interviews and that. So from there, I submitted my letter. I was chosen in August of 22 to be a therapy dog handler. We went about getting the dogs from DNS Retrievers in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, And I ended up, they allowed me to go out and meet all the dogs. And like I always say, like it's, especially in this role as a therapy dog, you want to get a dog that's like not like aggressive in any way or kind of timid in a sense. And I saw this dog kind of slumped over in the corner, kind of a thing. And I immediately knew that was the dog that I wanted. She wasn't pushing past all the other dogs or anything like that. And then like I saw videos of the dogs, and she was always like pulling up the rear. She was always like in the back of the pack and stuff like that. So I was like, that's the dog I want. Like magically too, she was the last dog in the litter that hadn't been picked. So it was like the stars aligned, and it was kind of meant to be. And then from there, like I have a picture of her. She's like a little peanut on my chest. But yeah, I mean, that's how that all came to be.
So what's it like, man, having a dog as your partner coming to work every day?
So it's surreal. That's always been a dream of mine. You know, when Officer Nolf got the first canine here, Lucy, I wanted a dog like that, but being in the role that I was in, it just didn't work out. So then this opportunity came about, and like to have, like I would have had a dog either way, but to have a dog with me to come to work, and it's just like a surreal feeling, and it's great. It's a great experience. So.
And it's cool to get to watch you guys interact. Like you'll have your gun on your hip, you're in your official Lehigh police attire, and you know you'll talk to her, come on Grace, let's go outside and go to potty, let's go. It's just, I love it, man. It's just, and the coolest thing about this is that people that don't know this, that never had this experience, I will be sitting at my desk doing work, and I'll be writing maybe on a search warrant. I got music in my ears trying to focus and lock in, and all of a sudden I'll feel warm breath between my legs as Grace rests her head on my leg. And I mean, who would not want to come to work in that condition, right? It's like stress relieving.
It's a great environment. We always say that as much as she helps the community, she also helps like the police department, the employees there, just for that.
So when you have a student come in who maybe has experience or situation that's not favorable, right? Like there's a victim of a crime, and maybe something happened to them and they have to tell this hard story. How have you seen Grace be effective in that? Because that's when you're sitting one-on-one, you know, but people might not know. Yeah. When you're sitting one-on-one and trying to get information of something that has to do with an assault or just some messy situation, that's very uncomfortable.
Sure.
So how does she fit in that process?
Honestly, it's crazy. Like I don't know. Like she just has a natural a knack for this. Well, I'll be like, "Come on, Grace, let's go," and she's moving back here. But we go out and we have this soft interview room that's kind of set up like a living room, make it a little bit more comfortable than your historical interview room. And she goes right out there, and I'll have the victim or survivor come into that room, and Grace goes right up to him and starts giving him kisses, and she immediately knows what's to do. It's crazy. It's almost like she can feel that whatever negativity or trauma that person's been through, she can feel that. She absorbs it, and it kind of dissipates from there. So
that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
What have you found to be 1 or 1A, the most rewarding things you've done with Grace on campus? So maybe it's a specific memory you have, or just the daily functions that she has.
Sure.
What makes that so rewarding?
I mean, it's great just to walk through the libraries, and that we do that from time to time, whether it's during peak times for finals or midterms, or just if we're doing an event at the library. I think that the interaction with the students in that is you could see they're all stressed out, doing their schoolwork. And then the dog comes by, and the one thing that really is fulfilling for me is when they say, "Man, this made my day." So that awesome. I think is great. But for a specific moment, and it goes back to I was interviewing a victim of sexual violence, and I have Grace in the room. We're talking these conversations. They're sometimes uncomfortable in that. And Grace walked right up to the community member and started kissing them in the face. And they're telling me this traumatic story, but they're smiling, telling me this. Yeah. And that was fulfilling, because you knew that our mission with these dogs came to a head right there. So I
imagine when you're sitting in your office trying to think how you can be purposeful with Grace, those are the memories. Are wow,
for sure,
we're making a mark. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Yik Yak real quick.
Oh boy, all right.
Because we started, I don't know when it was, you started taking Grace to Rathbone. I mean, you
Yeah.
probably have done that for a little while.
Sure.
But you've been maybe more consistent within the last few months.
Sure.
Like, tell me about that experience, because you've seen people post about it on Yik Yak.
Yeah, I mean, with Grace, like she likes to interact with the community, especially if there's food around. So we'll go up there for lunch, and she just goes around and says hi to everybody, and like she's probably getting a French fry or two. But yeah, and then like I know it's a successful day going to Rathbone if Grace has made Yik Yak in some fashion, because like inevitably somebody, you see them taking a photograph and then it pops up later. I'll get a notification on my phone that somebody posted something's trending on Yik Yak, and it's a picture of Grace just chilling at Rathbone. So yeah.
Do you know how long therapy dogs usually are on duty for? Like how many years you get? Or it just depends on the dog?
Well, I don't want to talk about the end of that, but either way, like I think Grace could do this until, you know, like the day she dies, honestly. Like it's not like a physically, I mean, there are peak times, and like when like first year arrivals come, like that day is like 10 hours straight of events and stuff, and she's smoked by the end of it. So
Okay.
but
So I guess
she could do this for a long time, I think.
So being a working dog, whether you're explosive detectives, narcotics, therapy dog, I guess there's different, I don't want to say word shelf life, that's a bad, but you know, there's a different operating structure based on what the duties they have to do.
Yeah, like the only thing, like I've noticed, the dogs are, like the therapy dogs are usually good for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then they need like some sort of break, whether it's, you know, go get some water, kind of relax for a half hour, whatever it is. So that's what that looks like typically. And I try to, in those busy days, I try to, you know, give her a break here and there where we can find time.
What's the future look like for Grace on campus?
What's the future look like?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been kicking around like some ideas with the different types of events, and maybe we can get feedback from this. But I've always wanted to do like you know, host like a dog yoga thing at our police department, or like at the flagpole. Say, hey, we're going to be at the flagpole. If you want to come play frisbee with Grace, it's just stuff like that.
Like
just
events
to,
like
yeah,
that,
just
yeah.
to interact with the community on a more personal level versus, you know, just saying hi as I'm passing, you know. So.
And when the weather gets warm, is that one of the things you do? Is like in between, if you're working on cases, you just go to University Center and throw the ball around? Like, is that?
Yeah, I think that's a great location. It's very central on campus. People see you, and all the time I have people coming up up to us and ask them to throw the ball or a stick for Grace. So especially when this weather has been brutal the last couple months, so it's been tough. But yeah, I'd like to get out and do a lot more of that stuff this coming spring. So
Awesome. All right, last question.
okay,
If Grace could talk,
yeah.
if she could talk, which I think she can, what would she say about her experience being on Lehigh?
Well, I already touched on this. It's kind of cheating, but I would say let's go to she would probably say let's go to Rathbone, because that's one of her favorite locations on campus. She gets super excited. I know the community, the students, and even the employees there from Sodexo and that, they get really excited when Grace comes in. They all know her name, and they're all saying hi to her and stuff like that. So I think that's what she would say. Let's go to Rathbone.
That's great.
What's for lunch, kind of a thing. So
Thanks for all you do for here. Honestly, when I got hired here, you're a big player in the police department. You're a lieutenant, you run the investigations unit, you have Grace, so you have a lot of responsibility and duties here, and you've also been really good to me internally and just the community, so really thank you for everything
Thank
you
you.
do. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Now you get to hear from Officer Stephen Romanic and Scout. Officer Romanic has been with the Lehigh University Police Department for 6 years, but his connection to our community has started long before he put on the Lehigh uniform. Stephen was born and raised in nearby Coopersburg and attended Allentown Central Catholic. He went on to attend King's College, where he earned a degree in political science and played on the baseball team. After graduating from the Montgomery County Police Academy, he spent 5 years with the Kutztown University Police Department before joining us in 2019. In 2022, Stephen became Scout's certified handler, and they have become quickly familiar, friendly faces on campus. When he's not on duty, Stephen enjoys spending time with his wife, Stephanie, and their new son, Weston. And they're spending a lot of time outdoors whenever they get the chance. Scout is a 3-year-old chocolate Labrador. She is affectionate and loves food. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. Stephen, how do you like having a canine partner?
I mean, it's great, honestly. Scout is my first canine partner, so this was something new for me. But it's been great. I think it's really like built our connection stronger with the Lehigh community ever since taking on the role of a therapy dog here.
What's the training process look like for a therapy dog?
Sure. So therapy dogs, unlike service dogs, are more oriented to like a broader audience per se. So the service dog is geared towards servicing one individual, whereas our therapy dogs serve the whole community, right? So like we encourage our therapy dogs to be pet. So like one of their qualities that they should have is like their ability to remain calm, be affectionate, and provide compassion to the community. So that all started when we introduced the therapy dog program here at Lehigh. Our assistant chief, at the time, who's now retired, and our chief, Schiffer, they did a lot of research into the therapy dogs and what qualities they wanted our dogs to have. So they found a breeder in the Kutztown area, not too far from here. They spoke with those individuals at length. It's called DNS Retrievers. They found dogs that they thought would fit our mold here at Lehigh going forward. So right off the bat, we were pretty much guaranteed for success, right? So as a therapy dog, they don't need like a specific obedience school. It's not required. However, I got Scout when she was 8 weeks old. For the first couple of weeks, it was just her and I on the campus, learning together, doing a lot of obedience stuff one-on-one, finding, then we were finding areas where there were people so that we could get her oriented to the community and wasn't going to be stressed in large crowds. When she was a couple weeks old, or months old, she went to Canine Off Leash. That was in Allentown. She spent about 2 weeks with one of their professional trainers, so she did go through an obedience school for 2 weeks. Once she got done with that obedience school, I met with the trainer myself. We went over, just the groundwork that they had laid, and yeah, we've just been working together ever since at Lehigh. That's really the main.
Scout has a cool personality. Like, what is her personality like when she's at home? Is she the same? Is she different?
Yeah, so she's quite silly, obviously. If you've met Scout, she's got an aloof personality. When she's at work, she's always on the go, looking for snacks, looking for attention, looking for somebody to play fetch with her. At home, she's about the same. However, she spends a lot of her time sleeping in our bed. Like we come home, she doesn't even really lift her head to greet us at this point. She's just so chilled out from the week of work. But she still plays fetch at home, frequently, but she takes a lot more naps.
How is she with Weston, having a new baby?
So she's good. Yeah, she's finally started to show him more attention. In the beginning, because he's just about 6 months old now, he wasn't really doing too much. But now that we've been introducing some foods to Weston.
I got Scout's attention.
Scout is right there, yes. Sitting in his high chair, Scout's, she's always in the picture.
What do you think, not that you would know for sure, but what do you think Scout's favorite thing to do is on campus? Like, where does she get most excited? Maybe a place to go or something to do?
Yeah, so she really gets excited when we are driving over the mountain to go down to Goodman campus because there's, it's beautiful over there. There's a lot of area for her to run. So that's a place that we go all the time where she plays Frisbee or chases the ball around. She spends a lot of time with the athletes down there because, they need some Scout time. But along with, playing fetch, she loves going into the eateries on campus. She's got various offices on campus now, trained to have treats on command for when Scout comes in to visit.
So if Scout could talk, what would she say is her favorite thing about working at Lehigh?
Maybe pup cups, probably at the Starbucks on campus. Yeah.
That's good. Pup cups.
Yeah.
It's like little whipped cream, right?
Yeah. Well, depending on where we go, the cups can be quite big.
So I asked Dave this. I'm curious. Is there a light? Not I want to say a lifespan. That's a bad word. But is there for a working dog? Obviously, Greg, for example, has Lucy. She's retired and lives with him. Mm-hmm. I'm curious how that works. Does she, when she's done working or providing therapy to the community, will you be able to take her home, or she'll be able to retire, or is it maybe not something you have thought about?
Yeah, I would like. I don't really want to think about Scout, retiring and going towards the end of her life, as she just is 3. But yes, upon the completion of her service here at Lehigh, she's going to be, living at home in comfort.
I just find that amazing. It's like, we get a dog to go to work with us official duties,
Right.
and then they get to relax and, take it easy.
Yeah, so, being a therapy dog, like you've seen, her life is pretty relaxing as it is. So I think she's going to have a long career here, and then whatever she's got left, she'll...
How have you seen the students react to Scout in certain situations, like maybe stressful situations?
Stressful, yeah. We've had, obviously, we have our share of stress here with the students at Lehigh, but just like on the day-to-day basis, like driving around, like I drive the vehicle, Scout's sitting with me in the front seat with the window down on a nice day, which we'll eventually have here. But just driving by, like they see Scout and they're like saying hi and calling her by name, like it's like, wow, like the students and the staff, in fact, they know Scout. Like it's not like they're just waving because it's a dog. They're like calling her by name and saying hi. So it's cool. One
cool memory, I think I might have even told you this a couple weeks ago. I hear some voices get excited. There's like 5 or 6 students walking down the street. And I drive down and I see you there with the pickup truck.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all sticking their hands in the window.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed they're petting Scout.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like how cool and I heard them say, Scout, like how cool that's got to be to be driving a pickup truck with police lights on it, your dog and the shotgun.
Yeah.
And people know who it is. You're like a celebrity.
It definitely, makes it feel worth it, what we're doing, that, we're actually making an impact on the students and everybody here at Lehigh. So that's right.
Last question. What's most rewarding for you? Like, what do you get out of this as a handler of a thing?
I think it's like the connections made are maybe more deeper than what they were before. Like being here since 2019, I didn't take on Scout till 2022. I've met so many more people, I feel like, in the last 3 years than I did in my first 3 years, and I know more things about them, like on a personal connection. I think it makes us more approachable to start those conversations.
Stephen, thanks for all you're doing today, buddy. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Yep, take care. Thanks for watching Labs Unleashed. If this conversation inspired you, challenged you, or made you think differently, subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Share it with a friend or a colleague building something new. And if you have a story or idea that deserves to be unleashed, we want to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, keep cooking, and unleash the best version of you.